Oh, great. Thank you for joining us today. It's season 3, episode 16 of our NBA-SBL Business Law Weekly. And I am, hi, yeah, I'm here. Hi, welcome. I am Adebola Mudi, and I'm thrilled to be your moderator today. Welcome, and if you're joining in, please feel free to introduce yourself, your name, what you do, and where you work, and we'll be pleased to meet you in the comment section. We have a super inspiring panelist lineup this afternoon, and they are geared and ready to feed you in on our thrilling topic. Our topic today is maximizing client feedback and survey for sustainable growth. Before we jump right in, I would like to do some introductions. First, I want to thank my chair, Tomilola Oduyebo. Thank you for allowing me to abuse your name. I took permission before we started to say I'm not sure I can make you with her name, but thank you for allowing me to do that with your name. Thank you so much for anchoring the whole process of this live today. Thank you. And then welcome to our panelists. We have Dr. Kayode Akinshola in absentia, is in transit. Hope to see him soon. We have Eunice Ireti Oluwabanjo. She's head legal and of corporate affairs, Superflux International Limited. And then we have Bolarinwa Odeyale, head Bolarinwa Odeyale and Co. and chairman of NBA Abeokuta branch. And like I introduced earlier, we have our chair Western Zonal Committee and executive committee member of the NBA-SBL. So welcome to you all, and thank you for agreeing to speak to us today and sharing your beautiful insights with us. We're not alone. We have representatives from NBA-SBL, and I'm mentioning the names of some of our executive committee members that are present with us or are joining us, particularly mentioning our chair of the NBA-SBL, that's Mrs. Ozofu Latunde Ogemudia. And then we have our secretary, Mrs. Ayoyinka Olajide Awosodo. And then we also have one of our executive members, Christine Sijuade. Thank you so much for honoring us with your presence, and your inputs are incredibly valued. All right, thank you so much. We're in for a beautiful afternoon. So please stay in on us, whether you're driving, whether you're in transit or in your office. This is a good afternoon listen that would help you for the rest of the year. I love the topic we're going to be looking into today, just around surveys, reviews, and all of that. Such a prompt time to be having this topic. But before we delve in, I would like to hand over this moment to our host, Tomilayo Oduyebo. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Debola. Good afternoon once again, everybody, esteemed colleagues, distinguished panelists, and the valued members of the SBL community. It is my great pleasure to welcome everyone to this afternoon's program on maximizing client feedback and service for sustainable growth. And like Adebola mentioned, this topic is coming at a very auspicious time. Most of us are winding up for the year. We are trying to get feedback. We're trying to look at the things we did well, what we can improve on in the coming year. So it's coming at a very good time. The Western Zonal Committee would like to especially thank the chair of the SBL, Mrs. Sofolatunde Gemodia, for this opportunity. And of course, the members of the committee, of the executive committee. I would especially like to recognize our secretary and Ayoyinka Olajide Awosedo, and then Christine Sijuade. Welcome. And then we also like to state that we wanted to look forward to more programs from the Western Committee in the days ahead. We're aiming to bring up programs and activities that will help us, with peer integration, with connections, with mentorship, and we hope that we'll be able to do justice to issues that are affecting the business community in the years ahead. So welcome once again, everybody, and we look forward to a very robust discussion this afternoon. Thank you all. Please, over to you, Debola, moderator.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, my chair, for such sweet speech. So we're right in. We like to keep the time at the SBL, and that's what we're going to be doing this afternoon. Yeah, we're talking about client feedback. I heard someone said once that feedback is like listening to customer feedback is like being a gardener. It helps you to tend to the growth of your business. And there's been a phenomenon around what I ordered versus what I got. And sometimes client feedback can be like that. There's a way a firm, a business has conceptualized an idea, curated a culture or service support, or you strategize. You've done so much to ensure that we are top notch in service delivery. And you're not sure whether it's a case of what I ordered versus what I got. And so it's very important to know that clients are maximally enjoying all of what you've put together. And so you want to know how these efforts are being perceived. On the other side of the client, you spend your hard-earned money to employ this lawyer or this business or this organization, and then you want to be sure that you get value for your money. A few things to just note around feedbacks and just ensuring that we are not just running a marathon without looking to our sides to be sure that we are even on the right lane to start with. One of the things to look out is to say, feedback shouldn't be an event. It shouldn't just be a once in a year where we're trying to wrap up the year. We should have systems that help us feel the temperature of our clients once in a while, not too often, such that it looks like we're unsure what we're doing. But there should be feedbacks. You're delivering a job to a client. There should be a tiny feedback on how they perceived your delivery service or how they perceive what they ordered and what they got from you at the end of the day. Then also knowing who to ask is also very important. Knowing who to ask, knowing when to ask, knowing what platform or what method to use in deducing all this information. And some of these things what we'll be delving into this afternoon in our conversation. So for instance, not all departments can do well with the same survey across board. Litigation department, arbitration department will definitely have slightly different approaches to getting feedback from their clients. And then something else that is very key is that we should extract information from clients without making it difficult for them to feel. Sometimes you see a survey form and it's just difficult. Just looking at the survey form already gives you a heart attack, a panic attack, and you're just wondering, I can't get through that, just shut it down. But making it so interesting, enjoyable, and as short as possible, but with the right questions that would deduce the right information. And then don't just shelf it after getting this information. What should we do? Analyze the data, information. If you're a full-grown big organization, have a department that does that constantly for you. If you're a small organization, have a system to analyze the data and the information that you get from your clients. Why? Because it's going to change your systems. It's going to affirm you the things you've done well, is going to encourage and push you further, a notch further. And then it's going to help you probably to even bring forth new products or services from the kind of feedback that you get from them. All right, let's delve right into with Mr. Bolariwa Odeyale this afternoon. Following all of this that has been said already, what would you say? Why is client feedback crucial for the reputation, particularly for the reputation and management of businesses and firms? Mr. Odeyale.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Feedback is so crucial in any establishment because if you want the business to grow, you can't be talking all of the time. You must listen to the other party. You must listen to the clients. They are the one paying your bill. They are the one paying the fees that you are giving to them. And of course, they must have a space. And that is where your feedback comes in so that it helps the business to be in a continuous kind of way. And of course, it improves the business because you are shaping your business, maybe chambers, maybe a company on the outside. You are going to shape your business or the products that you are getting from that business based on the feedbacks from the customers or from the clients. So it is not a static kind of a thing that you are just doing it in isolation. Just like in law now, you listen to the other party. You have to listen to the people that you are rendering service to. And it's your listening that will bring a lot of changes, that will increase customers, that will make you to be in contention or stay in competition and inspire innovation and so many other things. It is feedback. It is so necessary because if there is no feedback, you are just like a radio. You are talking to people you cannot be talked to.
So good. So good. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeyale. Feedback helps us listen. I think that's a big highlight for me from what you just said. Mrs. Ireti Oluwabanjo, what are the best practices in collating feedback these days? What tools can we deploy? What technology can we leverage on in feedback collection? Yes, we want to hear people, but how and what ways can we efficiently hear them? Thank you.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to be here. We're talking about a very overlooked topic, feedback. And we've heard how critical feedback is. Feedback is just like oxygen to any organization. You need to hear people. You need to know if that food you have cooked for people is very sweet. You know, your food is in your own mouth, but in someone else's mouth, it might have that same taste. Yeah, so you've asked the question that what are the best practices? Before I go to best practices, while I was preparing for this topic, I did a short survey. I did a WhatsApp poll on the NBA Lagos in-house council group. And my findings were very, very interesting. 95% of in-house counsel that answered the poll said most law firms do not ask for feedback. 95% says most law firms do not ask for feedback. Feedback that should be a strategic asset to help you in customer retention, to help you understand what your clients want. 5% says method of collection is probably through survey, phone call, informal conversations. And a very sad 2% said when they gave feedback, lawyers implemented. Only 2% said lawyers implemented the feedback they gave. So I think if this is the truth, then it's very sad. And we don't really advertise. We've been missing out on this very big asset that could have helped us to get more customers. Because all you need is one satisfied customer and they'll blow your trumpet all aloud. There are different types before we go to method, there are different types of feedback we could get from clients. You have positive feedback. All feedback should not be negative. Some are actually positive. Thank you, you've done well. The best feedback any client wants to hear is, oh, you won my case. They give you 100% on that. Or probably you saved me from some probably contractual pitfalls. Those are positive feedbacks. Can they be negative feedbacks? Yes. As a lawyer, some of the indices, some of the factors are not within your control. For example, when I came in as an in-house lawyer, one of my KPI was to conclude court cases within 1 year of institution in Nigeria. So what does it imply? Any lawyer working for us is expected to conclude a court case within 1 year. And I wouldn't say more than that. So any lawyer being scored on that indices would definitely fail. And that would be a negative feedback for that lawyer.
Wow.
Then we have when your client leaves you, that is a feedback. It means they are not happy. That's why they have gone. Sometimes some clients will give you feedback, you didn't meet deadlines, you were very probably slow in delivery of their case, or sometimes lawyers, it could even come informally. They give you feedback. maybe when you are with them or on the phone, they just tell you what they feel about the services you've rendered. It is still feedback. Feedback might not always be that Google form you set up with questions for people to fill. So feedback comes in very, very different ways. So we need to be we need to be aware of the ways feedback could come. So you pick on it, latch on it quickly because it's an asset. It's like a gift given to you. So in feedback collection, the first question, what do you want? Which questions should you be asking your clients? Normally, when you're being engaged, you could have maybe terms of engagement or your client care letter. What were the deliverables you set? So one of the best practices in collecting information, you need to understand the objective for this feedback you're requesting for, and what should it be based on? It should be based on what you told the client you were going to do. If you told your client, oh, within X number of days, we'll conclude, maybe we'll review this contract or we'll conclude this engagement, then you should keep that. That's the basis on which you should be judged. And if for any reason you're not able to, did you inform your client? And you could also there are different ways you could use structured, open-ended questions. Okay, there are different forms of feedback. It could be formal. It could be formal using your forms like your Google. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Yes, we can hear you, Racy. We
Can
can.
you hear
Okay,
me?
it could be formal feedback with the use of forms, like maybe your Google form. This is most popular and is very free, unlimited question and answers. You have your SurveyMonkey, you have your Typeform or Microsoft Forms, but I would personally recommend Google Form because it's very easy. Then make your questions short, sweet, and simple, not too many stories. For example, you could have unstructured questions like, how would you rate our responsiveness to your inquiries? As simple as that. You could put excellent, good, average on a scale of 1 to 10. You could communication, how was our communication very clear? Then were you informed of the progress of your matter? These are some questions you could use to get feedback. Did we meet your expectation? That is very dicey because client expectation is quite different from, you could use open-ended questions. What aspect of our services did you find helpful? I'm using specifics now, so we to make it very, very practical. Okay, you could also do face-to-face interviews. It could be via Zoom, like we're having this session. It could be going to visit the client, speaking to them. When you're speaking to people physically, you can feel their pulse. You see all the emotions playing on their face. And it will be easy for you to flip how they feel and pacify them. Then you could use suggestion boxes. If you have websites, you could have live chat or chat boxes that could communicate with your clients. So these are some of the ways we could, best practices. You could leverage on technology for feedback, then ensure you apply the feedback given to you by your clients.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ireti. Can I push you on a bit further? Speaking about, you're talking about employing technology. Can you speak further about that? Are there particular softwares, platforms we can deploy to help us with our surveys? Because these days, even lawyers don't have time to sit down. Businesses are trying to plan for 2025, and it's almost like you're asking us to go back and sit down and won't just move on. So, what technologies do you think have you used or would you recommend to us that are swift and very efficient?
Mm. Ordinarily, like I work in-house and we have CRM tools. Zoho is one of them. Zoho has your CRM tools. They also have questionnaire you could use. But you have to subscribe. It doesn't come free. Then I don't think a lot of lawyers use CRM tools, unlike what we have in the business world. I even called some AI companies for lawyers, and they said they don't have a CRM tool for lawyers. So this is a vacuum that a discerning business person could fill in to provide such softwares. We have Google AI for sentiment analysis. SEO is a very good. You have your website, so do
Yeah.
SEOs. You could collate, do a back-end analysis. You know, what are customers asking for? What are clients? When people come to your website, what are they looking for? It gives you
Yeah.
insight into
Yeah.
what people want. But
Yeah.
I know a couple of law firms have a website, but not all lawyers have. What of apps, mobile apps? How many law firms have mobile apps in Nigeria? Then your AI powered analytic chat box. When people come to your website, is there any live chat box interacting? What do you want today? When you're done, are you okay with our services? Yesterday, I went online. I was on the website and I went into work. I forgot. And I just saw a pop-up that, oh, for the past 12 minutes, you have not said anything.
Wow.
I
Nice.
remembered.
Nice.
So
Nice.
these
This
are
is so good.
simple tools we can
Yeah.
integrate with our websites.
Yeah. And some of them we even ignore. We don't pay attention to them. So thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much for speaking so well. And I think I like the fact that to speak to us about survey, you conducted a survey so that you are even sure about your audience and the
Yes.
vacuum and the need that we have. Thank you so much. Iretolu has spoken robustly about best practices, methods, and technologies to deploy. But there is a question begging for answer. With our privacy laws in Nigeria, how do we ensure that we extract these feedbacks and we are avoiding privacy issues in sourcing, analyzing clients' feedback? So, Mr. Odeyale, can you help us? How can we protect and ensure clients' customer confidentiality? That's a big one for us, client customer confidentiality.
Oh, the first thing when it comes to confidentiality in keeping and maintaining feedback given in chambers, the first thing is we must have it at the back of our mind that we should not turn whoever is giving us feedback into a whistleblower. It is so important because, for example, in chambers, some clients are disposed to talk with your secretary, your receptionist, some lawyers, even some to your driver. It depends on the clients and the level of what you can call, how do I put it now? Level of trust enhances the feedback that is given. There are certain things you cannot meet the head of chambers and open your mouth and say. So the first thing is to maintain a kind of atmosphere. In Christ Embassy, they call it atmosphere for miracle. In your own chambers or place of business, you must maintain an atmosphere that is conducive enough so that people can say their mind. Don't turn them into whistleblowers. Don't turn them into our feedback. Most often than not, we are not expecting positive things. We are going to have some that are negative, some will be midway, and some will be your priorities, the fact that you are doing the bidding of your clients. So the first thing is you must maintain a composure in such a way that you are not jumpy, you are not on the edge, you are not ruffled, but you are ready to give it this. The first thing. The second thing is to clarify the feedback. You must be able to see this feedback that they are giving me. Ability to interpret the feedback properly and not to be jumpy about it. Okay, you listen, you save it. Okay, these ones are part of that is now coming into the whole thing. Ability to do that is so key. The third thing is accept and take accountability, or what you can call responsibility. Your feedback could be in terms of your product, in terms of the cases that you're handling for people. And of course, some of them will go to lawyer A, go to lawyer B, go to lawyer C and D. And by the time you are talking to them as the person that is taking the brief, they will be talking to you as if they've been called to Nigerian bar. They know everything that you want to do. And of course, you must maintain the ethics of the profession by being calm and listen to them. And of course, whether the feedback is turning into a whistleblowing, is turning into an apropos thing, you must express gratitude. If somebody has come to give you a free information about your wife and husband, the least you can do is still to thank them. It is you that will now process what you want to do about the information that you have been given. So you express gratitude to them because they are doing something to you. And most often than not, these feedbacks, the carrier of this feedback, the people that are giving you feedback, you have to maintain the ethics too by keeping their personality, their names, some of the time, by keeping it to yourself. You don't need to mention some, but you can turn it in a subtle way into your chamber's policy or a company policy. So that is that about that. Apart from expressing gratitude, you can always reflect on the feedback. Since you have your team, you have what you can call a chambers meeting. You can bring it to the fore by not disclosing the carrier of the feedback or the person that has brought the feedback to you. You can throw it open in a board meeting or in chambers meeting in order to get ideas, feelers from others, to see things from their viewpoint too. Because for somebody that sits in the office may be different from somebody that is always on the field. Somebody that is a core solicitor is different from somebody that is a barrister and at the same time enters the courtroom to canvass arguments to defend clients. So these are very important things to follow. A solicitor may be very good on paper. A barrister is somebody that canvasses arguments in a law court. And so you must be able to blend the two together. And of course, anytime there's a feedback, always do a follow-up. Get another feedback. If it's in tandem with the first one, then you know that you will still need to process it and do something in chambers. Not that because somebody has said something about your staff, you must have an independent feedback. It could be a member of staff. It could be on the way you have been doing or carrying yourself in doing a particular work. Feedback matters because it is that ingredient that spurs you, that makes you uncomfortable or that makes you comfortable to do more in a particular manner or to desist from doing that particular thing. Apart from follow-up, the next thing will be to entrench or work on that feedback. Turn it into a policy. Do something about it. Don't jettison it.
Okay.
It is so
Thank you.
important.
Thank you so much, Mr. Odeyale. You're so right. Thank you. I think top point for me is you're saying we shouldn't turn the client to a whistleblower because they are
Yes.
bringing information to it. I think that's also very, very key. And then some of the subtle ways the privacy issues can be avoided is making it anonymous sometimes. I think making such feedback anonymous so that you don't even know who is saying what about your brand or your organization. I think you see some websites where they put what our clients are saying about us, and then they can say, oh, this person, and this was said. But instead of writing the person's name, they can just put an initial, maybe SA or TD or something. So just some ways to preserve their identity. And then if possible, they can sign off their rights to or let them know ahead. So thank you very much, Mr. Odeyale, for speaking to this part. Yeah, so we are having a really robust time already, and looking at our participants, we have about 54 people at this time. Thank you for joining right in. We'll have opportunity for questions for our panelists. So if you have any question, you can already start putting it in the chat box, or you can prepare them, and then if time permits, we would call you to unmute and speak up on your questions. Yeah, but then I'll go back to our questioning for our panelists now. We've spoken about how privacy issues can be avoided in generating and analyzing feedback from clients. And then I want you to speak more into this, Ireti Olua. You have spoken about surveys and how we can employ them and all that. But in designing these surveys, are there effective ways or effective strategies to consider, and what's most important to bear in mind when putting them together? Strategies for developing surveys, effective surveys, so that we can actually deduce what we need to hear from our clients. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adebola. Like I had said before, the first thing, what's the purpose of this survey? What's the purpose of the feedback you want to get from your clients? The main purpose should be for to feel the pulse of your clients, to understand what they want. It should come from a client needs. What are the needs of your clients? Well, lawyers. I think one of the things your client needs, timeliness. They want you to be responsive. Send periodic updates. Let me know what is happening. Clients hate being in the dark. So when you're requesting for feedback, you have to look at it from the aspect of what your client needs. Clients want transparency. So have you been transparent enough? You can try to get their feedback on that. Communication, effective and clear communication. Clients want you to communicate properly. So when you're asking questions, you could also ask questions on how you have communicated. And this is very important because managing partners don't always interface with clients. It could be your senior associates, your associates, and you don't know how they handle clients. Sometimes you lose briefs because of how your associate has related to clients. So you need to get feedback on communication. Then very important would be how often. I've spoken extensively before on the kind of questions you're to ask, so I wouldn't just rehash that. How often should you do a survey? Should it be monthly? Should it be quarterly? Should it be annually? It depends on, law is very broad. For litigation, it might be maybe during your matter after you should give updates, then you can request for feedback maybe after court sittings, or you can make it monthly. Then a very comprehensive feedback can be requested at the end of the case. If it's for contract, of course, contract review, these are short jobs that you can finish quickly, and it could be after you're done with that review, you could request for feedbacks. Then for honest answers, sometimes you need some level of anonymity. So how should probably no names should be mentioned in your survey. You could exclude names, and it would help people open up and tell you what they feel. So if you want candid feedback, you could even ask clients not to mention the name of probably the associates in-house to help you not be biased too. Then, like I had said earlier on, if you have deliverables or KPI in your engagement letter, you should also consider it when you're structuring your questionnaire, the questions you'd ask. Then there's something else you can add in your feedback or your questionnaires. Likelihood of recommendation. Would you like to recommend me to another law firm or to someone else? You know, it's a very simple question. Some clients will tell you no outrightly, and that's a conversation starter. You can engage with them. So let me even look at, we've talked about different ways you can collect feedback. I talked about the formal, informal, silent treatment when a client is not coming back to you. That's telling you something too, that you've probably offended this client. So when it happens that way, you should engage. So what kind of feedback method should you use for different clients? I want us to also be generation sensitive. We have different generations in the workplace now. For those who are older, they are not so, some of them might not be very conversant with technology, or they might be averse to technology. Such a person, if you send emails, send all the forms in this world, they will not feel it. You will send reminders, they won't feel it. For people like that, face-to-face conversations might be better for them. Or people that are very busy, people who might not have time to look at all your chats or all your messages. So you have to look at who, the kind of clients you're dealing with, look at the generation of the clients, look at how busy the clients, and look at the patterns, watch how the person has been relating with you. Then it to determine how you could engage with the person. There are different types of feedback. You have quantitative, qualitative. Surveys and questionnaires might not work for everyone. It could be interview, focus groups, suggestion boxes, post engagements, reviews. When you want in-depth, if you just want to find out probably the needs of your clients generally, you can go for your qualitative and quantitative surveys. But if you want to get in-depth to understand your clients, to see what they really want, then we're talking about your qualitative surveys, which will be better, maybe client interview face to face, or a video interview where you could see your clients, judge, look at their mood. We're talking about non-verbal communication. For verbal communication, they say it's just like 5%. So you're looking at their mood, their gestures, the tone of their voice. So you could gauge and you can placate your clients, and you can save that brief. Because if they are very angry with you, they can take away their brief and they won't recommend more persons to you.
Sorry, I was muted. I didn't know. Thank you, Reti. That's so good. Identifying the core areas for which you want to get feedback, how often, and then I think I particularly like you talking about understanding your clients, and you're talking about older clients, and I think even on the flip side, there are also the younger clients whose attention span is very short or are very busy, and they don't have so much time for chitty chat. They want to just get going. So you need to be able to tailor it to suit each category of clientele that you have. Else it becomes dead on arrival before you know. So thank you for those strategies, and I'm sure we can immediately put them into work. Yeah, I'm going back on these privacy and ethical issues, but from another angle now. Ethical issues. I'll call on my chair, but first I want to recognize our chair at NBA-SBL. I understand that she walked in while we were having the chat. Mrs. Ogemudia, please can we recognize? Oh, thank you. I can see your hand raised. Welcome again, and thank you for honoring our invitation to be here. Thank you. All right, so I would call on our Western chair now. Tomilola, please can you speak to that a bit more about ethical issues that may arise in the feedback collection process and how they can be addressed? A big part of of law school during my time was ethical issues. That was hammered. And lawyers don't joke with ethical issues. So please speak into that so that we avoid those pitfalls. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Adebola. And before I state the few points I would like to make, I'd like to specially welcome our chair again, Mrs. Ozofu Latunde Gemodia. You are most welcome, Madam Chair. And I wouldn't know if you'd like to say a few words to us before we take this next point.
No, let's do it at the end, just so that we don't disrupt the flow of the conversation.
All right. Thank you. So, while the was speaking, she actually mentioned one of this. It's very important for us to know our clients' needs. Not be too familiar with clients. You know, you may say, "Oh, this client is my friend. We go way back," but the bottom line that's comfortable with them. Now, when we go to ethical issues,
Okay, I think we lost Tommy for a bit. Maybe some network glitch. Okay, let's keep that to save our time. Let's keep that and come right to Mr. Odeyale. Mr. Odeyale, how can businesses and firms involve clients in co-creating
all right,
solutions
I think
based
the
on the
network logged me
feedback
out.
collected? Mr. Odeyale, okay, Tommy is back. Okay, Tommy, are you here?
Yes, can everybody hear me? The
Yes,
network
we can
logged
hear
me
you
out
now.
briefly.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay, great. Okay, so I was saying that before one would go into client feedback and service, it is very important in most cases to look at the aspect of consent. Do these clients know what you're going to do with this feedback? It's very important to obtain their consent and be sure that they're actually signing on for the feedback you're getting from them. And then what are you going to do with the feedback? Some clients may take you up on it and say, "Oh, you're mismanaging the information given to you." So you have to be very clear. As legal practitioners, we can't afford to leave gray areas. You have to be very careful in obtaining consent and then in communicating with clients what we intend to do with this feedback, how we intend to use it. And then, of course, we have regulations like GDPR and NDPR that talks about consent, how to avoid liabilities, ethical issues when it comes to feedback and client information and how it will be used.
Tommy, okay. I think the network took you away without your consent. Sorry. Tommy, are you back? Oh, all right. Okay, let's take Mr. Odeyale now. Mr. Odeyale, are you here? Mr. Odeyale?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, please, can you speak into the next question I was asking about how businesses and firms, law firms, businesses, because we have some of our participants that are not necessarily lawyers, but have organizations, and then how can they involve clients in co-creating solutions based on the feedback collected? Please go for it.
Well, there's a good one. Let me start from the last one. That is appreciating them. It could be the end of the year. It could be during Salah. It could be during the Easter. You can do it for all your clients by appreciating them, getting a gift, no matter how small, across to them. It goes a whole long way because whatever we are talking about is still about your chambers or about your business that you're expecting to flourish. Apart from that, there must always be a follow-up on suggestions or feedback. Don't just allow it to slide, because procrastination, they say, is the thief of time. So anytime you have a feedback, you cannot let it in the cooler. Something must be done about it, because the same people that are giving you this feedback, they are also monitoring you. They are watching you, so that when you do something about something that has been pointed out to you, the bearer or the giver of that feedback is always happy that though he's not a member of the company, as a client, as a customer, he has a stake or a say in the upliftment of such a company. Another thing is speeding up research and development. If you have if you are making up your mind on a particular feedback, then you must be up and doing that. Certain things are brought to the fore by way of delivery, so that such a thing is not just in abeyance, or the feedback are just, you just pay lip service on it without really doing anything. Another thing is you have to think like a non-profit organization to make use of this feedback, because if you are thinking about making profit all of the time, you are not likely to do justice to some of the feedback that are given to you. Now, in companies, multinational companies like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and all that, periodically they do send out staffs to conduct a survey. And that's the reason why some of the time you see them coming up with some other variants in terms of taste. You see them reshaping the bottles. You see them doing all sorts of things to tackle imitation and some other things that people have called their attention to. Another thing, asking customer to be free enough to come and share their experience, feedback, even with the head of the company, with HRM, with head of chambers. Allow them to come freely, just like what Jesus said, that if anybody knocks, I will open the door and I'll come and dine. Don't keep your feedback bringers to the gates. To a certain level in your company, there should be an avenue to approach the CEO, the manager, the directors, and open up, say their mind the way it is, without any form of fear or favor. This is so important. If they can approach you, then it will go a long way in bringing such a business at par with others that are in that same business. Even if it's a law firm, it's going to help, because anytime somebody brings a feedback and you give them a listening ear and you work along with them in order to bring the proceed or your solution as per that feedback, it gladdens the heart of the feedback bringer. And of course, it's going to rub off positively on such a company or chambers. That is my take on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Adeali. I think I heard someone say once that the essence of communication is not just reiterating the information, but a change in behavior. That means if someone says something, it's not enough that you can say what the person has said, but it's that what the person has said has impact in what you're doing. So right, Mr. Adeali, that we should ensure that we don't just collect this feedback, but we actually do something with them, evidently with all that's involved. Now we are pressed for time, and so I will just take one more question and then we'll proceed to our question and answer. I don't know if you have any yet. Please, you can start raising your hand or putting it in the in the chat box, and I'll pick it up right from there. So let me go to Mrs. Iretiolua. So future trends in feedback collection. What future trends in feedback collection are we anticipating, and how will it shape businesses and law firms in utilizing client feedback? This is 2024. Yes. So let's go for it.
Oh, thank you very much, Adibola. One of the first things I'll say is AI, artificial intelligence, is here to stay with us. We see all the open AI, we see ChatGPT, even Meta AI. Then we have Otter AI. So AI is here to stay with us. I imagine, for example, we're having this meeting and a chatbot is here with us. You know, Otter AI can actually attend meetings on your behalf and record, take minutes, do everything. So in addition to taking minutes, the AI tool is also analyzing, gauging, you know, all the salient points you have missed, all the emotion, the sentiment. The AI is analyzing, giving you feedback on the go, probably suggesting even the questions, how you should respond. AI will be suggesting how you should respond to a particular client in a feedback session. The possibilities are endless, very endless. So I see AI tools very strong to probably attend meetings with you, detect sentiment and emotion, help you identify issues, probably try to suggest root causes for you. That's when you've collected feedback. Probably these AI tools could help you analyze data, give you suggested recommendations to probably implement the feedback you have received. Then you can also automate, your response. Probably if your client has given you this feedback, or you have a to-do list on what you're to do, you can automate to do so you don't forget. It can help you, AI can help you in implementation. So AI can help you along the value chain, both collecting the kind of questions you should even ask. It could suggest the kind of feedback mechanism method you should use. It could give you questions tailored to each client, not even general questions now. It could suggest the kind of questions you could ask a specific client. Then I also mentioned, okay, you could even, what are we're asking for feedback. I told you that two different types of feedback. You have the quantitative feedback to use to feel the pulse of your clients. So AI can actually do that for you very well. It could get information on internet. What are clients complaining of? AI tools can help you collate what people are complaining of. It will help you collate trends, legal trends. It will help you collate needs per time. So I see it as a very strong fact. It will be a very strong trend. It's here to stay with us. Then I had mentioned conversational AI, your chatbot, virtual assistants that could take inquiries, give you suggestions, solutions. I've spoken about predictive AI also. Another thing we could use, we had raised ethical issues on data collection or feedback collection. Blockchain can help us for transparency to secure data. You're sure the data you're providing, the feedback you're providing would not get into the hands of third parties or unintended persons. We talked about anonymity to help get honest feedback. Blockchain can actually help us do that based on whatever indices or whatever metrics is imputed into it. So it would solve the issues of the ethical issues we're all complaining about. Then a trend I'm seeing would be real-time feedback, instant feedback. You have instant surveys, probably, for example, even on this call, we can do a poll here, you know, to test the pulse of people. So instant feedback, real-time feedback, no longer maybe you wait for maybe at the end of every year before you conduct. While you're on a conversation with the clients, you can actually get instant feedback. Then we were talking about people's attention span. Gamification might be a way to go. You see all those those people mining coins now. You see everybody tapping their phones, mining. They are playing games to get more tokens. So the same thing, you could also put maybe incentive discounts to your clients to encourage them to fill your feedback forms. Then we're in the 21st century. You no longer rely on just surveys. There are different channels you could use to get your feedback: email, social media. You can use your website. You could even build your own app. It could be a total app and you just input. Feedback will be one of the tools you input in your probably your app, your mobile app or your web app. Just infuse it into it. Then video feedback. You could ask for videos, video feedback, audio feedbacks. One very important thing for us in the business world, we're very customer centric. These testimonials we get from clients, we put on our website, we publish everywhere. We want people to know. When I go to anybody's website, I'm asking, where are the testimonials? What are people saying about you? I look at the reviews. If I'm looking for any service provider, I check the reviews. What are people saying about you? So when you get feedback, you can put on these channels. So when people keep reading about how good you are, it encourages first timers to trust you without seeing you. They believe in you without seeing you. So it's very important. You can use different channels, different web channels, your social media, different social media tools to get feedback and actually publish your positive feedback. Then we talked about personalization, not one size. Hello?
I said subject to ethical issues as well.
Yes, subject to ethical issues.
Yes. Thank you very
Then we
much.
can.
So I have to cut you now. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem.
So
That's
that
fine.
we can have one of the questions you might actually be able to respond to it with some of what you're saying now. But I just want you to put it in perspective. We have a question from Shedrack. Did I get his name? Shedrack, yes. His question is that how can I apply all these advice with an education firm, particularly a language academy? So he's saying that he has heard everything we've said, but he's looking for context. How can he situate all of this within the context? Ireti, can you go for that, please?
Okay. Getting feedback is not just the preserve of law firms. Every business organization is meant to get, once you're servicing people or you're providing goods or you're renting services, you can get feedback. So even if it's an educational firm, everything we're saying here applies. The first thing, who are your clients? You know, those transacting with you, they are your clients. How do you get feedback? So the question will be, what method of feedback, which method would you utilize? And you have to profile your clients, understand their generation, understand their response time, how busy are they? Are they people that read emails? You know how you've been communicating with them. So you have to use a method they would respond to. And I talked extensively about having a goal for the feedback. What were your deliverables? What did you say you would do? Did you tell your clients you respond in so time, you conclude this engagement so time? It will help you to design the feedback form depending on the mechanism you have chosen. If it's physical interview, it will help you streamline the questions you're going to be asking your clients. Are you delivering on your deliverables? What are your KPIs? So these are the things that would help you. Then I talked about you have to determine, do you want to use structured questions? Do you want to use open-ended questions? Depending on what you're asking for. And it differs from industry to industry. There is no one size fits all. When you get the feedback, implement it, look for ways. Then there was something we didn't have time to talk about. Input feedback into your company's culture. Determine how you want to give feedback. Is it every month? Depending on, is it after every engagement? Know what works for you. Then you can implement. Everything we have said here applies to you. And once you implement it, you'll be fine. You get the feedback you're looking for.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ireti. That was so spot on. And thank you, Shedrack, for that insightful question that has birthed more conversation from our panelists. I think we can only take one question today. Our time is fast spent. If you have any other question, please send it. You can drop it in the chat box or you send it to the emails. And then our secretariat will circle in responses to you from the panelists. Before we go, I would like to call our chairperson, NBA-SBL chairperson, Mrs. Ozofu Ogiemudia. Please, you have the floor, ma'am. Are you here? Oh,
I can hear.
beautiful.
Waiting for my video. Good afternoon to our distinguished panelists and our audience today. I think today's event is very dear to us. It is the first program of our Western Zonal Meeting in a long time. So we're very happy that it has taken place. I also think that the topic was one of those ones where I remember coming up in the law and hearing how lawyers don't treat their practice as a business. We just put our heads in the book and, all we care about is the law. But I think the things we shared today are the things that will enable and equip us to treat our legal practices as a business, both in terms of how we pay attention to the quality of service, how we get feedback and let the clients know that they are number one, and also how we also ensure that, in executing our duties, we're not breaching confidentiality, we're keeping things, as they should. So I found it very helpful. A soft skill training is something that I think is in short supply and we should continue to emphasize. So thank you very much to our speakers, Mr. Odeyale, Ms. Banjo, and Ms. Moody. Thank you to our zonal rep, Mrs. Duyebo. I'm going to call my executive committee member, Christine Sijuade, because she was actually supposed to give the boot of things. But since you called me, I kind of stole the show. Christine.
Thank you very much. I don't know if my video turned on. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Ogemudia. In fact, when you started speaking, I was like, oh, but I was the one that was supposed to be speaking. Just to say thank you very, very much to the panelists and the moderator for today's session. And it's been so helpful, it's been so useful. As somebody who has straddled both sides of the coin, I can tell you that customer feedback is so essential to any law firm, any business, in fact. And there was something that was said, or two things that were said that I picked up on. One is the fact that law firms don't have technology or software that they use to get customer feedback. And if we take nothing else away from this session, is the fact that law firms need to start thinking about that. Other businesses, other corporates, this is something that they do. And it would be very helpful for law firms to have this sort of tools to get feedback. I know that some law firms have a way like Google Forms that they use to get client feedback, but I think it will be very useful. The other critical thing that was said was understanding the generation of your clients and how you engage with those clients in how you provide the service and in how you get feedback. I thought that was very useful and very topical because sometimes the service that you're providing is not relevant to the client that you're providing it to. So that was so useful. I just want to say thank you again to everyone who made the time to attend today's event. And we hope to see more of you again at future events. Thank you all. Thank you. Adebola, back to you.
All right. Thank you, Christine. And thank you, everybody, once again for coming up and for the 42 people that are closing out with us this afternoon. Thank you for your time. Apologies, we shot a little above the scheduled time. At the end of the day, businesses want to give value and then they also want to make profit. And feedback is one of the ways we can achieve both. And so let's go back into the rest of the month and the year and see how we can improve on our feedback system. And this is such a good time to do that. Thank you again and have a pleasant afternoon, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Debola.
Bye. Thank you, Debola.
Bye.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Odeali
Thank
and Mr.
you,
Bill.
Ireti, and thank you, Miss
Thank
Odeyale.
our chair.
Bye, everyone.
Bye all. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.